What's up guys, welcome back to the channel. Boozer here, thanks for stopping by. In this video we are on the test server here and we will be play testing the brand new login champion Michelangelo from the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle collab that's going on right now. If you guys are fortunate enough to pick him up, we also have a 5-star soul that's coming right after picking up the champion, so make sure you guys stay tuned for that phase 2. Getting the 5-star soul for any champion is a massive boost, so make sure you guys don't skip out on this 5-star soul, guys. Just getting the champion's not enough, especially when the 5-star soul is free, so I highly recommend getting the 5-star soul. For this video and its purposes, testing purposes, we will be showcasing Michelangelo with the 5-star soul, assuming that you guys will all have access to it. Let's go over the champion here real quick. So like I said, he is part of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle collab. There's the 4 Turtle brothers, Shredder and April, and Michelangelo is from the Bannerlords. They kind of split up the turtles into different factions, which is kind of weird, but I guess that's okay. But here he is. Michelangelo aesthetically looks really cool. He's the youngest of the 4 brothers, I believe. I think that's the lure. And he's goofy, fun-loving, not taking things too seriously. And look at that, he's got his pizza stolen by a rat. Really cool little bit of animation there from his showcase screen. I love the flaming nunchucks. He looks awesome. Checking him out here, he is an attack based damage dealer. He has damage stats 1520 on the attack stat, 99 base speed, which is a little bit on the low / average side, 63% crit damage, which is the boosted crit damage for a damage dealer. Does come with 10 base accuracy as well. Let's check out his kit here real quick. Starting with his A1, he attacks one enemy 2 times. If either hit is critical, places a 50% increased attack on himself for 2 turns. That's really nice. So he self buffs himself with his A1. He's getting 20% damage from 4 books. Not the best value here. You only get 5% damage per book, so not the best value, but it is what it is. It's pretty standard. His A2 here, express delivery. 4-turn cooldown when fully booked, that goes down to 3 turns. Attack one enemy before attacking, has a 100% chance of placing a decreased defense on that target, has a 100% chance of placing stun, will ignore 25% of the target's resistance if the attack is critical. So that kind of helped you out a little bit for the accuracy requirements. But you obviously don't want to bank on this, so you want to gear them out with proper accuracy anyways. Then applies debuff spread, taking all debuffs from the target and placing them on all enemies. Will ignore 25% of each target's resistance if the initial attack was critical. Since he's a damage dealer, you're going to build him with 100% critical rate, so he will always land these critical hits. Therefore, you will always ignore 25% of the target's resistance. So it's a pretty cool ability here. Obviously it works against multiple enemies as well, as an AoE decreased defense plus debuff spread, so it's kind of nice. His A3 here, Shell Cyclone, 5 turns, books down to 4 turns, is an AoE attack, 100% chance of landing, decreased attack, and leech. Will ignore 25% of each target's resistance if the attack is critical, so that always happens, so that's really nice. Then places taunt on himself for 2 turns. Now this is a really good ability against Hydra, for example. You can place decreased attack and leech. Both are very useful against the Hydra. Also, these are very good against the Chimera boss as well, and the clan boss as well. Decreased attacks very good, and leech is very good. The problem is you can't really rely on decreased attack against the clan boss because it's on a 4-turn cooldown, but as a backup it's pretty solid. All these debuffs require accuracy, but since he can ignore 25% of the target's resistance, it does help lower the accuracy requirement slightly. His passive here has a passive effect, has a 15% chance of evading an enemy skill and all of its accompanying effects. If this champion is under taunt, the chance to evade increases 30%. Evade basically means that the attack will totally miss him, all effects will miss him. So he has a 15 up to 30% chance of totally evading, I guess, the attack. So he also has another passive ability where he joins in with his other turtle brothers when they attack. As well, and his active effect here on a 1-turn cooldown places a shield buff equal to 300% of this champion's attack when they receive a hit. This is actually pretty nice because the shield can be pretty significant. So for example, if you have a average Michelangelo, maybe 4,000 5,000 attack, and then you have it up to 3,000%, 300%, so that's 15k, like 12 to 15k shield every time it gets hit. That's a nice little bit of buffer room to keep him alive. So that's really good to see. And he comes with a very friendly accuracy in all battles, so very useful, especially for newer players as well. So generally speaking, just overall kit impressions, he seems like a damage dealer with some debuffs. So you have to build him out with a little bit of accuracy, but I wouldn't go too crazy with his accuracy. Maybe just a banner and maybe just some random accuracy substats, or maybe some accuracy sets or perception sets would probably be enough accuracy for most content in the game, outside of arena and all that stuff. It's really nice to see him self-buff himself with increased attack. And then he provides a lot of extra utility with the decreased defense, and then of course decreased attack and leech. Very, very useful. And he has a little bit of self-preservation with his shell or shield buff, as well as his evade feature as well. So very, very solid champion, I think, just on paper. I just pulled up his multipliers here. This is from hellhades.com. Make sure you guys check it out if you guys are looking for any kind of detailed statistics on champions. But we can kind of see his breakdown on the skill multipliers here. His A1 is a strong rating. It's a 2x attack on a double hit, so that's basically 4x attack single target. His A2 express delivery, it's a 6x attack legendary rating. That's the second highest rating. This is a single target attack, so it's not like an AoE attack. The effects is AoE kind of spread, but the attack is only single target. 6x, pretty good, like single target hit. And then his AoE on the A3 is a 5x attack, which again is pretty solid. It's a pretty solid hit. Unfortunately, it's on a 4-turn cooldown, which means you're not going to get a lot of damage over time. The other big thing that I noticed is that you don't get a lot of damage from books. Your books are going into making debuff chance and cooldown reduction. You gotta spend 9 books, which is very reasonable, or on the better side of average. But you're not getting any damage into books. So for a damage dealer to not get any damage into books, that's a pretty big deal. And I think that's probably why his skill damage is not beyond legendary status. Without the extra multipliers from the books, definitely lowers his damage quite a bit. So I'm going to set my damage expectations a little bit lower for him. Obviously, he lands tons of debuffs and utility, so he's going to be better, and not just as a damage dealer. Let's jump into how I'm going to build him out, and we'll talk about it a little bit more. All right, guys, so this is my Michelangelo. He is pretty juiced up here. Like I said, we're going to play him with the 5-star blessing, assuming that everybody can get it. Like I said, I strongly recommend getting the 5-star blessing for Michelangelo. It is basically free. You just do a bunch of daily login stuff. He benefits from accuracy. His kit, he requires accuracy to land the decreased defense, the stun, the decreased attack, and leech. And of course, you get the crit damage and all those goody stats from the 5-star blessing as well. Now, this is a pretty big boy build here. We got a 9-piece merciless set. Obviously, this is going to be the strongest PvE build for a damage dealer in this game. 9-piece merciless set gives him a chance to get an extra turn, as well as all these nice stats that benefit the attack-based damage dealers, crit damage plus attack, and you get a chance to refresh some of his skills for more damage. Total stats I have on my Michelangelo here: 6k attack, 288 speed, 313 crit damage, 347 accuracy. Now, the accuracy is a little bit high for most PvE content. When I'm talking about PvE, I'm talking about Chimera, I'm talking about Hydra. Mainly Hydra. Michelangelo is going to be a good Hydra champion, and most of the dungeons, including faction wars. Maybe in the highest stages of hard faction wars, the accuracy might not be enough, but it's pretty close, especially with the decreased resistance or ignore resistance on his abilities. So aim for about 300 would be plenty for lots of endgame content. If you're just starting out in the game, aim for 200 accuracy, even less, you could probably get away with and be able to do most of the content. Again, for total stats for a damage deal, you want 100% crit rate, you want as much crit damage as possible, and attack. His damage is based on attack, and like I said, the big blessing here is going to give you nice amount of stats: 38 crit damage, 750 attack, as well as accuracy here, which is very, very nice. The increased HP also good to help keep him alive. Now, for relics, I'm not going to equip him with any relics because that's going to be really dependent on your own account. Obviously, anything that increases attack, crit damage, and gives him additional damage would be very, very nice. For the blessing, for PvE, so if we're using him for Hydra, bosses, dungeons, Chimera, for example, you can probably get away with using Nature's Wrath, especially with the anything under 6 stars. If you're going for 6 stars, then maybe Crushing Ren would be okay. Nature's Wrath would probably still be pretty good as well. If you're really starting out and you literally have really no gear, you can probably get away with using Brimstone, because Brimstone's going to help give you some additional damage against bosses. Really, really going to help you out there. Additionally, you could use something like Cruelty, which would be okay as well if your team doesn't have it. But Michelangelo is a legendary champion, so probably better to put him with a legendary blessing if you don't already have one already. For the arena, it's going to be roughly the same thing. For tier 6, you probably want Crushing Rend, and then anything under 6-star, you can probably get away with things like Lightning Cage to prevent people from stripping off your buffs, get away with Intimidating Presence. So there's lots of things you can actually use if you wanted to use him for like arena settings. But I think as a generalist, Nature's Wrath is pretty solid, All right, and like I said, full books, guys. Michelangelo really benefits from the books. If you want to use them in any kind of consistent capacity, definitely use him when he's fully booked out. So we're gonna book him out here. He's taking 10 books. 10 books here. I think I said 9 earlier, but yeah, 10 books, just about average there for a legendary champion. And let's see here. We're gonna go over the masteries here real quick. Masteries here. Move my head. We do have Helm Smasher here for additional damage. All the damage masteries here going hugging the left-hand side. A little bit of healing here with Life Drinker. We are going down the support tree. I think you get some pretty good value from the support tree. Master Hector is going to be pretty good. Has a chance to extend the debuffs. He does land several debuffs. And Lasting Gifts has a chance to extend the buffs that he places. He does place Increased Attack Taunt on himself. So he has 2 buffs that he can extend. Cycle Magic, so you can get back some of his bigger abilities, more stats with Lure Steel. And then we did take Arcane Celerity, so he has a chance to increase his turn meter as well. He does land several debuffs, so he has a chance to increase his turn meter there, which is pretty good. Yeah, and I think these are pretty general masteries for all areas of the game. Probably a little bit more focused for PvE content as opposed to arena and PvP content, but still usable in both areas. So here is my Michelangelo. We will test him out a little bit in arena, but we got to use a totally different build just because of how the arena meta is nowadays. It's always revolving around Stone Skin. If you don't have Stone Skin, it's really hard for a damage dealer to take a turn. But Michelangelo, I mean, he does have a way to kind of stay alive with his passive, but ultimately 300% of this champion's attack as a shield is not going to save him from most big attacks anyways. So you still need a Stone Skin on a champion like this. But anyways, let's bring him out to some areas and we'll see how he performs. All right, so let's take him for a spin here just for a little bit of a damage test. I just built Donatello and we just did a showcase on him. He's the ongoing fusion. And you know what? Maybe they'll play pretty well together. So I was just thinking, maybe let's put him in and see how well they do on the first wave. Yeah, let's take a look here for Donatello, who's a really good support, by the way. Let's do the turn meter boost here with the strengthen. Michelangelo is going to get a turn. I think we open with the A2. Let's see what his A2 is all about here on 1-time speed. So he's going to land his decreased defense and stun one champion. And then he's going to apply the debuff spread on everybody. Let's hit Chagar here with the 1-time speed. So decrease defense gets landed across everybody. However, the stun doesn't land on everybody. So that kind of sucks. That kind of sucks a little bit because it's not an AoE stun ability. It's an AoE decreased defense ability. So yeah, a little bit disappointed there. Would have been nice to see the stun get applied to everybody. We kind of saw the turtle passive there. So when Donatello attacked, Mikey also attacked. So we're back on Mikey here. Let's check out his Shell Cyclone ability. Decrease attack and leech. So I guess you could open with his A3 and then use his decreased defense with the debuff spread as well. But this is already an AoE attack. So let's check this out. 1-time speed. That's really cool animation. I love the spinning nunchucks, really cool animation. The attack is not super powerful. You can kind of see the damage here is not crazy. They already had decreased defense on them as well. So not a crazy attack or anything like that. Merciless just procced, so we do have the extra attack here. Yeah, definitely nothing too crazy in terms of overall damage from Michelangelo. But that was kind of expected, right? Just looking at his general multipliers and from his kit and his book damage and all that. We can let this run and see how well they do together. Well, that's pretty good. Obviously, Mikey's AoE attack's actually, not too bad. His AoE attack is not too bad. It was rated legendary rating, but yeah, definitely not too shabby in terms of damage. And a 5x multiplier AoE with relevant debuffs is good. It's good. It's just he doesn't have damage from his books, which obviously makes up quite a bit of damage. But yeah, he has great multipliers on his ability. He has good base attack. 15. I forgot what it was, 1550 or something. But no damage from books. It's definitely a big hit. But you can kind of see there that yeah, his AoE is not too bad. His AoE is not too bad. But nothing too crazy, not broken or anything like that. The single target looks reasonable. I believe it's a 6x multiplier, very reasonable. This definitely should not work against the boss, but let's see what happens here. Got the taunt ability, and we got the big shield coming here. Donnie's going to keep him alive with the cleanse. Donnie is absolutely insane as a support. I really like his kit. I think he's really good. We got him in a relentless build here. That's why he's kind of popping off with the extra turns and all that. But yeah, I really like the resetting ability and his cleansing and all that, continuous heals. And look at that. Look at Mikey's shield. Look at Mikey's shield. Like, he's just standing toe-to-toe against the dragon here. Obviously, I don't think these guys are going to take him down, but you never know. You never know. We saw the evade in action there as well. He evaded the dragon's swipe, which is absolutely insane. A lot of A1s popping off with the turtle passive, which is a little bit annoying. It does, increase the runtime of the runs, but let's see here. Whoa, look at that full heal from the leech. Yeah, we got the leech applied, and then he attacked once, and he full healed up. There's no way these guys can take him out. I don't know. I don't see it. I don't see it. Without poisons, it's gonna be really tough. And it's gonna take forever too. It's already 5 minutes into this, so we'll check back at the end. Maybe they can do it. Maybe they can do it. I don't think so. Evade, another big evade there. Very interesting. This evade passive ability is actually really strong. Yeah, I mean, this is cool. Sometimes the thing is, for newer players, sometimes you have to RNG your way through some stages, right? Like maybe you have bad affinity a stage, and then you need to RNG through the boss, and sometimes that 15 or 30% evade chance, it's going to give you that opportunity to beat the boss and then keep progressing, right? So sometimes you kind of need that. So it's a really cool thing there. So and yeah, Mikey's pretty full up here. And Donnie keep everybody alive. Donnie also has a passive that prevents the fatal hit one time. It's on a multi-turn cooldown. I think it's 4-turn cooldown. But it's maybe possible. I don't know. We're like dueling. I definitely did not expect this. This is actually pretty cool. Interesting. I mean, they got good builds, by the way. This is not a normal thing to see. We're on hard 10, the highest level of dragon, so you could definitely try to do this on lower levels as well, just with Mikey and Donnie with reasonable builds. With Donnie down, this should be over pretty soon here. There we go. Not too bad. I mean, they stood up against the dragon for a couple minutes there. That's pretty legit. His AoE damage is not bad, especially if you can get it back more often with the cooldown reduction from Donnie. So that's really good to see. But yeah, without books, it's a little bit lacking, but otherwise it does seem pretty good. Good multipliers and all that. Let's check him out in Hydra. That's probably going to be the best spot for his kit. And yeah, we'll build a team around him and see how well he can perform. All right, guys, so this is the team I'm going to run him with here. We got Wixwell, we got a HP burn with a revive and a shield. Yostred's here for speed up, speed down, as well as weaken. We got Michelangelo here for damage. He's also the only decreased defense. So that's one of the big things I wanted to test here, whether he's able to carry that kind of responsibility or that kind of role. He does have a 3-turn decrease defense, but it is on a kind of like spreading effect. But yeah, it's probably still pretty good. I think here we'd probably take out Lammasu, and then we can use another champion instead. All right, we're going to throw Wukong here instead of Lammasu. I mean, I guess he's another damage comparable we can use for Michelangelo as well. And then we have Shamail here to take care of the Head of Torment. He's also, somewhat of a damage comparable for Michelangelo. Personally speaking, I expect Michelangelo to be able to outperform both these damage dealers. This is not like a crazy damage team. I just wanted to throw him in with more comparable champions. Obviously, you can have more optimal teams. But yeah, let's see how it runs all together. I'll show you guys the builds and all that afterwards here. So yeah, let's slow it down a little bit here. So we got the increase speed, weaken, and then Michelangelo comes in with the decreased attack and leech. Really cool animation here. He's basically landing all his debuffs very easily. Wukong's coming in with the block buffs. Can we land the A1 once? So we saw there that Michelangelo did the decrease defense, and he spread all the buffs or all the debuffs across all the heads. Really, really nice. You can kind of see an even spread of debuffs across everybody here. We're going to provoke the head of decay here, and now we are all good. Let's watch it in action. This is some really interesting stuff here. And yeah, we got Mikey here doing the AoEs. The AoEs, like I said, do decent damage. Unfortunately, no books for damage, but multipliers are good. Let's see what he can pull. I mean, like I said, guys, we have kind of 3 comparable damage dealers here. I think Michelangelo should outperform Wukong and Shamael here. And but I would say they're somewhat comparable. So we will see. I think Michelangelo should be able to do better. He's also in probably the strongest build, I would say. Wukong's in a similar build, probably a little bit stronger in terms of stats, but he's a little bit on the slow side, a little bit slower. But let's see how this one plays out. This team is, like I said, not fully optimal or anything like that. It's just kind of a fun team, kind of a mid-ish team. We are doing nightmare difficulty here, and they are well geared. So I'm not saying that this is like super easy content or anything like that. Not to make light of it at all. But as far as Nightmare Hydra, end game teams go, this is very conservative in terms of what we're using. We do have decreased attack applied to us. Unfortunately, we don't have a cleanse or block debuffs on this team, so we're just gonna have to run it through here. Oh, that's really nice. You see that spread there? That's really nice. But yeah, these heads are consistently debuffed, so looking real nice here. Total damage output not too insane or anything. We're doing just over 1 million per turn, which is still a very easy 1 key damage, and we're very safe right now. There's like literally no fear of this team dying. We also have a reviver with the Sulfuron as well, so literally no risk of dying here. I think this would be a very consistent auto team. Somebody like Donnie would fit in here as well. I didn't want to run Donnie just because I didn't want this to be a showcase with just 2 of them. But I think Donnie would be pretty good for general Hydra teams, just as a support. He's really solid. And for sure, putting him with Michelangelo would boost Michelangelo's overall damage as well, with all their passive ally attack joining in. So let's see here. Yeah, our damage is picking up a little bit. Yeah, as soon as the head of Torment shows up, damage should probably ramp up here a little bit because we'll be getting the turn meter and all that stuff. But yeah, our main damage dealer is Michelangelo here. So we can kind of see the damage ramping up a little bit. We'll be curious to see how this team overall performs. But like I said, Michelangelo doing really good. He's the only decreased defense champion on this entire team, and he's definitely carrying that role without any issues. The leech is also very good, especially if you're a little bit low on the stats. The leech is really good just to help keep you guys alive, make things a little bit more consistent. Decreased attack also very good. Maintains the heads from dealing too much damage against you and all that stuff. But yeah, let's end this one here a little bit prematurely. We'll do some quick battles just to see what the overall damage output is. So far we're doing about 2 million, and it's going up. It's so 2 million per turn. So my guess for this team, probably about 300 million, maybe 250 million on Nightmare. But let's end it here. It looks really good. I mean, you could definitely run Mikey as a decreased defense champion that also deals damage. And that would be solid. I mean, yeah, there's not too many decreased defense champions that can also pitch in damage. Um, Somebody like Mishinaki comes to mind, but definitely can use him just for more utility instead of overall damage. So yeah, let's do some quick battles here. Oh, we didn't unlock quick battle. Let me quickly do this. All right, I had to quickly get a 1 key here for the Hydra so I can do the quick battle for you guys to see. All right, so now quick battle is open. Let's see what this team can do in terms of overall damage. I'm guessing about 250, 300 million. And we do have the revive here, so it probably should go 100 turns pretty consistently. Let's see what we can do. $220 million. So that's on the first try here. Just taking a look at the damage spread. 36 million from Sulfurion. That's going to be from HP Burns. Mikey's doing 48. Wukong's doing 54. Shamail's doing 43. Like I said, Mikey is expected to do about similar to both of these champions, but I thought he would probably do a little bit better, to be honest. Estrid here doing 29, and that's her damage from the Hex. So let's try this again and then see if we can improve. I think Mikey should do a little bit better here. Try again. Consistent 1,000 turns is nice. 280. Yeah, so this probably closer to what I was expecting. Mikey doing 67 here. Wukong doing 61. Shamail doing 57. So like I said, Mikey about in the range of these types of champions. Mikey does have a 5-star. He does have a 5-star Nature's Wrath versus Wukong's more, generic blessing here with the Heaven Cast. There is quite a bit of buffs here going on, so he does get a decent boost, but Nature's Wrath is going to be much stronger as well. 280, I think, is a reasonable result for this type of team. We can try again for a little bit better, but Mikey should do better than both of these on average, I would say. 271, 69 million from Mikey, 67 from Wukong, 52 from Shamail. There is plus attack on this whole team from Estrid, so there's no advantage there. We don't have like crit damage boost or anything like that. Wixwell is in a protection set. Estrid's in hex set. Sulfurion's in random gear. But yeah, we can kind of see that Mikey should outperform both of these champions. Let's go back and I'll show you guys the builds on these champions just so you guys get a general sense of what we're working with here. So we got Estrid here. She's in a hex set, 293 speed, full crit cap, crit damage, accuracy to land her stuff. And then we have Sulfurion. Sulfurion's just in my arena stuff. He's fast, has accuracy, nothing too crazy. Shamail as the damage dealer here. He is +4 with 6-star Phantom Touch, 200, so he's a bit slow. He has high crit damage and 4.5k attack. No relics or anything crazy like that. In a reflex set, so he's going to get back his A2 relatively frequently. And then we have Wukong here. He is in similar 9-piece Merciless, same as Michelangelo. Stat distribution is a little bit different. He's a little bit slower with more crit damage and slightly less accuracy. Similar accuracy. He's wearing a cat's gaze as well, so he's doing some pretty big damage here. But Michelangelo is doing definitely better. And we got the Wixwell build. I think Wixwell is in protection. Yeah, he's in 9-piece protection set. Yeah, just general support. He's got resistance to resist the Head of Mischief. And again, Michelangelo here, just for a quick comparison. Again, 9-piece Merciless, 288 speed, so he's faster than Wukong, but he has much less attack, much less crit damage, and much less ignore defense as well. So he doesn't have the cat's gaze that Wukong has. And he has a little bit more accuracy, which doesn't really matter. So I would say, generally speaking, Michelangelo's build is probably much weaker in terms of overall damage output versus the Wukong. In terms of stats, in terms of ignore defense, but Michelangelo did outperform Wukong there in the overall test. But they bring different types of utility, right? We got decreased defense, leech, decreased defense. That's really, really nice for Michelangelo to apply all these debuffs, which is really good. And then you have Wukong there applying the block buffs. So they bring different utility and a little bit of damage as well. So I did mention that this is more PvE focused build. If we wanted to switch over to like an arena build, this is probably what we would be using here. Something like this type of setup here. So if you guys are lucky enough to have a setup like this where you have 4-piece stone skin with 4-piece savage or lethal for some ignore defense, this is probably what you would be using for arena. Now I don't expect anybody that just started the game to have a build like this, so I don't expect to ever see a Michelangelo in this build, because I would imagine that if you've been playing the game long enough, you would have a better damage dealer than Michelangelo. So you wouldn't have to build him out in like this type of build. We have a pretty good build here, 7.3k attack with 276 speed, 310 crit damage, and accuracy as well. No relics. Relics would help. And the same masteries that we use for PvE would still work in arena as well. Now for PvP, you wouldn't actually use him as a damage dealer because he doesn't hit hard enough. He's more of a utility champion, and a lot of these debuffs, I mean, they're fine, but they're not going to be super meta for any kind of late stage arena battles. So I would strictly focus him in on PvE content instead. For example, we had Alice from earlier this year as part of a free champion. I think Alice would be a slightly better arena champion than Michelangelo is. She hits harder. She has a lockout ability, which is more relevant than landing all these debuffs. But Michelangelo is hands down significantly stronger than Alice in PvE content, like boss content, Hydra content. And if you're, like I said, if you're struggling for damage, just switch him out for a Brimstone and he's going to hook you up for some damage. You don't need crazy stats on him for him to be helpful for you. And if you guys are new to the game, like I said, make sure you guys get the 5-star blessing. It brings a ton of value, especially with how easy it is to get the 5-star. You just have to do your daily fights and tasks, so then you guys pick it up relatively cheaply for a champion that's relatively decent. It's going to help you out in a lot of content as you progress through the game. All right, guys, so that's going to be my showcase here on Michelangelo. I think I covered a lot of stuff on him. I think he's a very, very solid early game champion. His damage is not going to be insane. Like I said, his damage here, 20% from 4 books. He has no damage here from books, no damage here from books. He's more of a utility champion, decreased defense. He can totally handle this role by himself, as we saw with the Hydra run. The spreading ability is really, really nice. This decreased attack and leech very useful. The taunt is very solid, and then his ability to keep himself alive is really nice. Like the evade ability being a passive, so it just triggers all the time, and then this shield ability gives him an extra backup way to survive. He's surprisingly difficult to kill. And yeah, he is solid, but not as a full-on damage dealer. So just make sure your expectations are in check. Make sure you guys get that 5-star blessing 1,000,000%. And yeah, enjoy Michelangelo as your free login champion. Anyways, guys, that's going to be it for the video. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think. Let me know what you guys are doing with your Michelangelos and how you guys are enjoying the collab so far. Once again, I appreciate you guys reaching the end of the video. Thank you for your time, and I'll see you guys in the next video.